Hey, beautiful souls, beautiful sunshine here with the Yar Holistic Healer, aka Sonia B. So I am back with several different prophetic messages. I want to say that I do have a lot of messages. They're going to be short, brief messages. I'm going to get straight to the point, but you're going to want to possibly listen to the end. I have a couple of additional messages, okay? Some of these messages may resonate with you and some of them may not resonate with you, but please only take the messages that do, okay? And even if this energy has not happened right now, let's just say that this energy is on its way, okay, to some people, okay? So anyway, so let's go ahead and get into the message, okay? So I received a message where some of you guys, and I kind of touched on this in the last prophetic message, okay? Some of you guys may have had a loved one that passed on, or some of you guys may be experiencing at this moment in time a loved one who has passed on, okay? So some may not have passed yet, but some may be on their way to pass, okay? So I say all that to say, I had a situation of my mother-in-law had passed away. May her soul rest in peace, because we were like this, okay? Much love to her. So I know she's with us in spirit. So I say all that to say, for those of you who have lost a loved one, I wish you much love, okay? Anyway, so with that being said, just keep in mind that because I was told to tell you to just be mindful, because if let's just say if you're driving in a car and let's just say like if your radio station all of a sudden it just changes on its own, be mindful of that, because that could be that loved one kind of let you know that they're there. And even if you hear a certain song that maybe that loved one used to listen to that kind of comes on the radio, be mindful of that as well too, because that's also a song that, you know, letting you know that that loved one is there, okay? And even if it's a situation that you're inside your home and you see like your lights flashing or blinking in some sort of way, like it's about to go out, and you know maybe you just changed that bulb already, that's letting you know that a loved one is close by as well too. So those are just some little telltale signs. So I just heard also too, because I did state this in the last video, thank you Spirit. The Spirit is reminding me that some of you guys could be driving in a car and it could be absolutely no one in the car with you, but your passed over loved one is kind of like in the side seat. So be mindful of that. I'm telling you that so that way you don't be fearful, okay? So with that being said, let's continue on with the rest of the messages. So the next message is be mindful of taking a job. If you're someone who has taken on a job, it doesn't matter where you work at, but the way I saw this dream was it was as if it was a kind of like a young male, possibly like in his 20s maybe, or mid 20s, or maybe late 20s, or possibly early 20s, maybe 23 or not up, okay? 23 to maybe like 28 or whatever is what's coming to mind. So I say all that to say, just imagine, let's just say that people have been having hard times, and let's just say finding jobs, or maybe they feel like they, you know, they feel like they need to take a job because they feel like they need money in a sense, okay? And I get it. We know we need money to live, but this is where God is kind of asking us to truly trust him in it, okay? So I say all that to say that if you're someone who is on this spiritual journey and it's like God is asking you to do certain things in a sense, or even if he's asking you to just trust him, or if he say, hey, I need you to sit still, it's important to you to really listen and really just trying to chime into what the Most High is saying at this time, rather than being reactive and just kind of acting impulsively because we're thinking the old way of doing things, okay? We're in a new paradigm, okay? We're shifting into one totally, okay? So I say all that to say the way that we moved before, we have to move totally different at this point in time, okay? So I say all that to say, like, let's just say if this gentleman needed money, whether it's a male or female, somebody needed money in a sense, and it's almost like, you know, they needed to pay their bills or they just needed money for whatever case. So they take a job at a childcare center, but the way I saw this was this gentleman was talking to another female who actually works there, and basically what happened was it's like kind of like having nap time. The way I saw it was because the kids were on their cots. So it's like the kids was on their cot, and you know how, well, for those people who work with childcare, sometimes there may be at least one child or a few children who may not be tired in a sense. So therefore, they want to, you know, kind of like sing or get up on their bed and they don't want to go to sleep, you know, okay? We can't force people to do stuff that they don't want in a sense, okay? And I get it. They're fearful of awakening up the rest of the kids. But the thing you have to remember as well is too that, you know, a person who is really in tune to their job, they would know how to redirect that behavior, okay? Rather than just hiring on people who just need a job or who just need a paycheck. Now they're in a situation that they can't get out of, all because of one little simple act, okay? Because the child was kind of like bouncing up on their bed. I don't want to say being disruptive, because they was being a kid and they probably weren't tired. Maybe they woke up late and they came to school late, so therefore if they weren't tired, okay? And I kind of got it like the child was kind of active in a sense. So the gentleman was trying to have a conversation with one of the females that worked there, and it's almost like the kid was interrupting that, so because he was making noise on his bed, and it's almost like all I saw was the gentleman picking him up and kind of slamming him down on his cart. So be mindful, because some of you guys are being tested at this time, and some of you guys may find yourself in a situation that you don't want to be in, being caught up with the Department of Social Services for abuse and neglect, or finding yourself within the judicial system, having cases or charges against you, all because one simple act, okay? So it's really important to just really be mindful of what you're picking and what you're choosing and what fields you're going into, especially if your heart is not there, okay? Because God is really stirring the pot for people and trying to show you, hey, this is not where you're supposed to be. This is not where I want you to be. I have something else for you, and that's what you're going to have to remember, and not just settle for, okay, I need a job, because I get it. At one point in time when I had to let go of my in-home childcare business, in a sense, it's almost like I was like, okay, Lord, how am I going to do this? How am I going to do this? But I'm just going to say he made a way, okay? He provided and he made it a way, okay, period. Other people may not like what he has done, but he has definitely made a way, okay? Anyway, so moving on. So yeah, just be mindful of that, because like I said, you don't want it to be a situation where somebody's finding themselves catching a charge, in a sense, okay? Because I actually, when me and my mother had our own childcare center, in a sense, it's almost like we had I'm talking about a childcare facility. It's almost like my mom hired on a staff member, and you're thinking that this person is disciplined because her spouse is in the military, in a sense. So a relative of mine, one of the kids' relatives who was there at the childcare, she was overseeing the classroom while I was taking a lunch break, should I say. She was supposed to be covering my classroom at that time. And it just so happened that when I leave the classroom, all of a sudden, I hear my relative screaming out and shouting. So I ran over there to see what was wrong. And I saw that, she ended up splitting her chin open, all because I just kept getting this image in my head. That lady took her foot and she pushed my relative's cot out of the way with her foot, in a sense, because my relative was, like I said, was kind of being a little active, in a sense, and she didn't want to go to sleep. And that is fine, in a sense, because again, if she really knew what she was doing and understood what she was doing, she would have redirected that behavior. Okay. So anyway, but I say all that to say that that's just something to keep in mind, okay? And to the point that I had to rush her to the hospital and, get her stitches or whatever, and call, her parents and let her, my relatives know, hey, this is what happened, in a sense, okay? So again, you don't want it to be a situation that you find yourself in, and all because of one little act, okay? Anyway, so the next message that I received was yeah, so just be mindful of the places that you're working, especially if you're working a job that you don't necessarily want to work in, okay? And like I said, God is stirring the pot a little bit. So if you find yourself being frustrated in any sort of way with any job that you are on, he's doing this intentionally, because it's almost like he's trying to get people out of these stuck energies that they have been in, and he's trying to move them forward and propel them to a new level, okay? It's just what I heard. So some of you guys, moving on to the next message, some of you guys are going to find yourself embracing nature, being out in nature a little bit more, okay? And it's almost like you're going to see nature as beauty. Like, oh my God, like I've been missing out on this. Like I really see the beauty in nature. So be mindful of that, okay? And it's important to really go in nature, because really being in nature, it helps to cleanse your energy, okay? Really helps to cleanse your energy. Anyway, it's like a spiritual bath. So the next message I received was, this came through a song, okay? And you guys remember the song? I don't know who sings it, but it's called Whoa, Whoa, Here She Comes. Watch out, boy, she'll chew you up. Whoa, whoa, here she comes, she's a maniac. Okay, be mindful of that type of energy, because I heard that song playing so clear like 2 weeks ago. I was like, oh Lord, where this coming from? I said, I hope ain't nobody coming with that type of energy or whatever. Be mindful at this time, okay? Because like I said, God is even stirring the pot, not only with business situations like jobs and people's careers. In a sense, it's almost like he's stirring this situation with people who are in these relationships, whether they're friendship relationships, whether they're co-worker relationships, whether they're romantic relationships, whether they're family relationships. All of the pots are being stirred with all different types of relationships. So I say all that to say, just be mindful, okay? Because the last thing you want to be dealing with is someone who's coming with like a maniac type of energy in the mindset, okay? And this is why God had been taking us through our spiritual training and allowing us to see what we're willing to accept and what we're not willing to accept, okay? So moving on to the next message. So some of you guys at this time, is almost like some of you guys may be seeing the number 444, okay? 444 represents home, lineage, roots, past, family. Did I cover them all? And this can come in a shape or form of all different types of, when I say family, it can come in the form of like friendship groups and, you know, again, like that as well too. So be mindful, because some of you, your chart, your fourth house is being activated, which is tied back to family, your roots, and, you know, your lineage and all that other stuff. So you guys can Google the number 444, spiritual meaning of it, and you'll see it. And then I received another message, is something pertaining back to your past. Something pertaining to your past. It came through as if like some of you were visiting your past home or something. And it's almost like God, now whether you was doing this physically or whether you was doing this spiritually, okay? It's almost like God was revealing to you what was happening from the past. So let's just say hypothetically, maybe if somebody came to live with you as a child and your mom allowed them to come and live with you. Let's just say that maybe if they came into the house, maybe your mom wasn't even aware of this at this time. And she might not have even been aware of this at all, whether it was your mom or your dad. So let's just say that somebody came and moved into the house, whether it was another relative that maybe your parents were trying to help out in a sense. And it's almost like you realize that this person was in your home. It's almost like God is revealing that this person is in your home and somehow they are attached to you, like currently right now in some sort of way, like some sort of way you realizing how they had attached themselves to you. So what you was doing wasn't necessarily you, if that makes sense, is what's come to mind. So in other words, sometimes people can be projecting their energy at other people, or sometimes people may try to, you know, connect their energy to somebody else and either try to sabotage them or try to use their energy, okay? So I say all that to say that sometimes people can try to take and use someone else's energy for their own personal gain, okay? So be mindful of that, because like I said, it's like a relative or something, or it could have just been a very close friend that somebody knew, but some way, shape, or home. Okay, I didn't just say that for nothing. Anyway, some way, shape, or form, somehow this person is tied back to connecting themselves with you in some sort of way. So be mindful of that, okay? And God is revealing that to some of you. Like, so let's just say if maybe if that person may have had like some addictive behavior or habits in a sense. It's almost like maybe you have experienced some addictive behaviors and habits and patterns of things you was doing, not realizing that that's not who you are, but you was doing it because somebody else was in your energy field in a sense, okay? So it's almost like when it says stupid is as stupid does in a sense, or, you know, if you walk like a duck, you act like a duck, you know? So, or when you're walking with ducks, you act like a duck. So kind of like those mindsets, okay? I don't know if you guys hear the siren. That's confirmation, okay? Anyway, so the next message I received was, those of you who are on a twin flame journey, some of you guys are connecting more intimately in the spiritual realm, okay? It may not be being done physically, but it's being done in the spiritual realm, okay? And when I say intimate, I'm talking about kissing, embracing, you know, like that or whatever, okay? So it's almost like each phase and stage is getting closer and closer and closer in a sense, okay? The next message I received was some of you are finding yourselves manifesting what it is that you want. When you've really taken, it was like this, I was like this in a dream. So it's almost like some of you wanting marriage or wanting, let's just say, like the ring of your desire. So it's almost like being around other people and somebody else started manifesting in a sense. And it's like, oh, you saw them do that. So now it's like, oh, well, let me go and see what I could do. I want this, I want this, I want this, I want this. And then all of a sudden it started to appear like, oh my God, I did it, I did it, I did it. So I say all that to say some of you guys are at that stage that you are able to manifest. So be mindful of what it is that you are manifesting, okay? And some of the next message is some of you guys be aware of mirroring behavior, okay? So I say all that to say, like, if you acting a fool in a sense, it's almost like somebody else is going to come along and kind of be acting a fool with you in a sense. Because the way I got this was, it's almost like, let's just say in the dream, it was like somebody had, this is very nasty, someone had did something very disrespectful in someone else's face. And it's almost like because they disrespected this person, it's almost like these two men kind of came along, and it's almost like they were like their, how can I say it? It's almost like this can either come in a form like this person was being protected because it's like two gentlemen had came. The two gentlemen can represent angels in a sense. I just got. And for other people's situations, the two gentlemen could be representing two men like within the world, like who don't have a problem with checking a woman in a sense, even though a woman is being targeted by another woman. But men who interfere with women behavior, how can I say it? Men who interfere with women's business in a sense. Like, in other words, if you're a man, you should be dealing with the man. If you're a woman, you should be allowing women to handle women business in a sense, okay? So it's kind of almost like that, but be mindful of that, because the way I saw it was, even though they was having a dispute at one point, it's almost like these two people came back and it's almost like they were retaliating some sort of way. And I'm not going to say this, but I'm going to just go like this in a sense, like, kind of like, I guess, trying to stir up a little bit of fear in the other person who disrespected the other person. So be mindful of that type of behavior, okay? The next message that I want to tell you guys about, so you know that all I'm going to say is be mindful, because right now, let me say this, be mindful of these celebrities out here, okay? And when I say celebrities, I mean celebrities in Hollywood, okay? Because some of these celebrities are going to average everyday people in some way, shape, or form. They're trying to, how can I say it? It's like spiritually, they want something from, let's say, people who aren't necessarily celebrities, because they see, let's just say, the light on someone else, okay? Yeah, so I don't want to get into too much detail because I want to finish the message. But if you guys are dealing with the situation that you're dealing with like a celebrity and it's coming from a spiritual perspective, feel free to reach out to me. And, you know, yeah, feel free to reach out to me to a consultant service. And, you know, we can kind of discuss some of the things that, you know, some of these celebrities do behind the scenes that people aren't necessarily aware of, okay? So speaking of celebrities, so with that being said, hence another message that came through was also about another celebrity, a big celebrity, okay? All I'm going to say is who have a beehive, okay, of followers, okay? So what I'm saying is be mindful, because the way I see this is, or the way I saw it was, it's like some of these celebrities are presenting themselves as being like pure. You know, when I say pure, I mean like coming in white. If you think about white, you think about Jesus wearing white in a sense. I mean, like he was purity. So be mindful of that, because the way I saw it was, it's like their followers were looking at them like, oh my God, like this is like Jesus. This is like Jesus. This person's like Jesus to me in a sense. And it's like, it's kind of like I was standing there and I was like, I can see straight through them in the sense of like, you know, just their flaws, their issues, but it's like the other people weren't able to see that in a sense, okay? So God is wanting to reveal so much to you that has been going behind the scenes, okay? But the only way to retrieve that information is just to kind of get in alignment with him, okay? Anyway, so this next message came through as Donna Summers. Again, we're in the month of July, so energies are stirring up. The song Hot Stuff. I found a hot stuff in the again, whatever, how that song goes. Anyway, so be mindful of that as well too, because you have some people who are in that type of energy, okay? And you can take that in any way, shape, or form you want. So this other song that came through was Lionel Richie. For some of you, it's like, baby, how did the song go? Baby, you bring me up when I'm down, up when I'm down, baby, baby. Okay, that song. Anyway, so some of you guys are starting to realize that, you know, certain people make you feel a certain type of way, okay? Anyway, so the next message that I received was, some of you guys may pay attention to symbols that's in your dream. So if you see symbols, try to remember what it looked like and then try to Google it, because it has some meaning behind it, okay? And then I just heard some of you guys have seen symbols. If you have seen some symbols, some of you guys are being activated at that time as well too, okay? So activation means just basically more information in a sense, okay? This other message that came through was, okay, somebody might have been calling somebody because something happened. So therefore, I got it like somebody was calling somebody to make sure they're good. So you could be hearing about situations where something happens, something transpires in a sense, and somebody's reaching out to somebody to make sure that they're good, okay? And another message I received was someone was like apologizing about something that they had did, okay? And it's almost like they were saying, I already apologized once, but I'm not trying to apologize, or I'm not going to apologize again. Be mindful, because sometimes God could be asking you to apologize about something, but maybe at the first time you apologize, you wasn't necessarily aware of what you was apologizing for. So I say all that to say, because what's coming to mind is sometimes a person could be like all day long, oh, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. But why are you sorry? Do you understand why you're apologizing? Are you sorry because you did this, and that? So if you can't name what you're apologizing for, then the apology is like voided, is what I heard. So it's important, if you're apologizing about something, really recognizing what you're apologizing for, because that's the only way that it's sincere, okay? If you just apologizing and you can't say what you're apologizing for, then again, the apology is just like it's voided. So the next message I received was, okay, so this message came through of some of you guys are having a blank canvas. And if you think about a blank canvas, a canvas is white, okay? That means a new start, a new beginning for some of you guys. And I say all that to say is, how do you want to create your canvas, okay? So it's like God wants you to get clear on what it is you want. What do you want to put on the canvas? Where you want things at? Where you want to set up location at, who you want to be in your life going forward, what you want to be doing going forward for us career-wise. So it's like putting all that stuff on a blank canvas. So I say all that to say, even if you have to kind of like make a vision board, that's almost kind of like having a blank canvas as well too. The things that you so desire, put them down. If you got to get a magazine and cut them out, cut out pictures. If you know how to draw and make yourself a little vision board, okay? Those things are going to help for those people who are at this stage, okay? Because the spiritual journey comes in different stages and waves, okay? So I say all that to say, for those of you who are stepping into the blank canvas, who the Most High is asking you what it is that you want, and He wants you to get clear on it, you know, this is where you start getting clear on what it is that you want, okay? Anyway, so the next message I received was, I'm almost finished, y'all. So so this next message came through like somebody was coercing somebody to, it's almost like they were tempting someone in movement and gesture in a sense. And all I saw was the other person saying, as the other person was responding was they was saying, no, I'm not doing that. So it's almost like what may have worked before. If somebody, let's just say if somebody was twerking, or somebody was dropping it like it's hot, or if somebody was having like a one night stand with somebody, and let's just say if somebody was messing with somebody on the job, these are all examples into which kind of how I'm seeing it. So if those things are pertaining to, let's just say, going out and getting wasted in a sense, and it's almost like that person is saying, no, I'm not doing that, because they've been there, they've done that, and they've done with that energy before, and they're not dealing with it again, okay? So anyway, so the next message that came through was, some people are finding themselves, some people may try to attach themselves to, they think that they're attaching themselves to other people's money, And I say all that to say that, or even what somebody else has going on, but I'm here to tell you that sometimes God will allow certain things to slip through the crack to see whether you're going to change your mindset. Okay, he'll let you keep going down a particular road, and he'll keep letting you think that you're gonna get something, or ooh, you can do this, or ooh, you can do that, because he's really just testing you. So it's almost like if you was in a whole candy store and God said you can only have 3 pieces of candy in here, and you chose to take one of each of the candies, and he said only 3. So it's almost like God walks away, go to the bathroom, and come back, even though, I mean, that's just not the case, but I'm just saying, even let's just say God walked away and he came back and he noticed that intuitively, he knew that that person had took a piece of candy from each and every jar rather than just 3 particular candies that that person wanted. So I say all that to say that he will test you to basically see whether you're going to listen or follow due directions, or not only that, but see where your integrity lies. Okay. So the next message I received was, some of you guys are communicating with someone that maybe in the past, I'm hearing like you are rectifying your behavior. You trying to make your behavior right. So whereas before maybe you was taking away from somebody or taking something away from somebody else, now it's almost like you are it's almost like you're correcting your behavior in a sense. Okay. And I saw that it was being done spiritually. Okay. And I also saw, again, a second time, that some of you guys are driving and being out in nature. And it's almost like, as I said before, really enjoying the scenery of things that you didn't necessarily notice before. Okay. And then this last message came through as, I received a message about saying that someone's son is a thief. Okay. And I hate to deliver that message, but, it was even to the point that I was asking God, I said, God, you telling me my kids are thieves? In a sense, because I'm always checking myself, when I receive certain messages, trying to see what's for me or what's for the collective, in a sense. So I don't take myself off the table, okay? That's just me holding myself accountable. So if I need to know that, I need to know that, okay? So some of you guys should just be aware of that, okay? And I say all that to say that, some of you guys may think that your kids are moving with integrity and morals and values, whether they're stealing spiritually or whether they could be stealing physically. That's something to keep in mind, okay? So anyway, with that being said, let me give you this quick additional message. So this message came through in Matthew 16:25, and it says, for whomever would save his life will lose it. So I say all that to say, and that doesn't mean like you physically lose it. Well, for some people, if their time is up here on this earthly plane, then yes, they may cross over, okay? Because sometimes you have to realize that we pick and choose the time that we're ready to go, okay? When we're like, okay, I'm done, I'm ready to go, okay? And honor that and respect that, especially when loved ones do take and pass over, okay? So, because there's a time and a place for everything. So the thing to remember is it's not so much as someone losing their life, but it's just basically saying, if you try to hold on to your, like, for example, God is trying to get some of you to step into your new chapter. If you try to hold on to the old chapter of your life, it's almost like he'll snatch that away from you. And he'll do that in so many different ways that you wouldn't even realize that it's being done, while behind the scene it's being dismantled, okay? So it's something to keep in mind. But it says, but whoever loses his life for my sake will find it. So losing his life will just and again, that doesn't mean accident, saying that you take your life. That's not what I'm saying at all, okay? It's just figuratively speaking, basically saying when you lose your life, okay, Lord, I surrender to you. I give it to you. That's what it's talking about. You basically surrender to God. So basically when you take and surrender to God, you'll find your life, okay? But when you try to hold on to it, you just create turmoil. You create sometimes heartache and pain, and you can bring in all types of destruction and all that other stuff along with it that you don't necessarily want. Okay, so that's just something to keep in mind. But hold on one second. Okay, this is the last one. So Romans 12:3 had basically said, and this is the message that he gave me a couple of days ago. So, for by the grace given to me, I say to everyone among you not to think of himself more highly than he ought to think, but to think of himself sober judgment, each according to the measures of faith that God has assigned them, okay? So I say all that to say, and I'm going to get ready to end it on that note, there have been so many people who have put themselves up on this pedestal, Okay. And I say all that to say, not to finger point, but I say all that to say that society has had a hand in this. Okay. And sometimes our family bloodline could have a hand in that as well too. Like trying to tell you, you should do this, you should do that. And society definitely has a hand in that situation. Oh, you should do this, you should do that, or this is how you do. By this age, you should be doing this, you should be doing that. You should have a white picket fence, you should be driving this type of car, you should have this many kids, you should be married, you should be living in this location, you should be living in the suburbs, you should be doing that. So I say all that to say that God is basically wanting people to understand that I, the great I am, is wanting to lead and guide you, and not in doing away with how society has told us that we should basically move according to what they consider successful in a sense. Okay. But again, there have been some people who put themselves up on this pedestal in a sense, and it's almost like God is knocking them off that pedestal because they put themselves up there. Okay. There's a scripture that does say God did not call the qualified, he qualified the call. Okay. So that's something to remember as well too. So sometimes when we think of ourselves a little highly, it's almost like God will bend that knee and humble us in ways that we didn't even necessarily imagine that was coming. Okay. So anyway, with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and end that here, but I wish you all much love, much light on your journey. And if you guys need assistance, you guys can visit my website. Feel free. Anyway, so I just wish you all much love and much light on your journey. Okay. I know it can have a lot of ups. I know it can have a lot of down situations in a sense, but if you need a little bit of hope and a little bit of inspiration, again, there's help out here. Okay. But just be mindful of getting quiet, getting still, and allowing the Most High to lead you and guide you to the right people in a sense. Okay. With that being said, I'm going to go ahead and end that there, but until the next message, much love. Bye.